There are so many discs out there to choose from that it's often difficult to know what's best for your game. Even with the multitude of disc golf brands and molds out there, there are always some that are best suited for all skill levels. So after a new year of trying a bunch of new discs and some that were new to us, it's time for part 3 of 3 discs every disc golfer should have. Now before we get started, please keep in mind that this series is based on discs recommended for all skill levels, and not based on discs that are just the most popular or what professionals use. Therefore, if a beginner or professional can't benefit from a certain mold, we're not going to recommend it, so please keep that in mind. To get started, we believe that a straight flying, stable mid-range disc is a staple mold that all disc golfers should have in their bag. It's so important that several disc golf brands have put a lot of effort to achieve popularity in this coveted spot, and some examples are the Discraft Buzz and the Latitude 64 Compass. And although there are several excellent molds to choose from in this category, this year there was one that really stood out. So, what's this disc that we speak of? None other than the Clash Disc Berry. The Berry is a straight flying, multi-purpose mid-range disc that holds its throwing angle well. It has a speed of 5, a glide of 5, a turn of -1, and a fade of 1. So this disc is not going to fade too much or turn too much, even when throwing at slow to high speeds. It therefore exhibits a nice glided flight with a little turn but an equal amount of fade, which obviously gives you a very straight flying disc. It just has the perfect amount of stability, no matter what your skill level or shot in mind. So for beginners, this is definitely going to be their most accurate disc, and one they can also use for approach shots, shorter holes, and even putting. It's just the perfect one-round disc because it has everything you could want with a consistent, subtle fade finish. Now, with intermediate and professional players, the same uses will apply, but they'll be able to work the disc around the course a bit better with things like hyzer flip shots, hyzer shots, or turnover shots that hold the line the entire way. Another great aspect about this disc is how it feels in your hand. We've tried the Mako 3, the Discraft Buzz, the DD Truth, the Latitude 64 Compass, etc., and they all feel relatively good. However, Clash Disc seems to have mastered the perfect mid-range disc and how the mold should feel in your hand. And of course, if a disc feels good in your hand, it's gonna breed more confidence, which is something that we're all looking for. And because it's good for all skill levels, this disc will grow with you over time. Therefore, if you're looking for an essential mid-range disc, the Berry is the one to get. Considering its Clash Disc's most popular disc, you can't go wrong. Now, having a straight flying mid-range disc is important, but it's just as important to have a straight flying fairway driver that you can get a little bit more distance with. And although we absolutely love our Leopard 3 slot, this year we tried a disc that we feel can go toe-to-toe with the best of them. And this disc is none other than the Latitude 64 River. The River is just the ultimate fairway driver, and is one of the highest rated fairway drivers on the market for quite some time. It has a speed of 7, a glide of 7, which is massive, a -1 turn, and a fade of 1. And so just like the Clash Disc Berry with its similar -1 turn and 1 fade, this disc is not going to fade too much or turn too much, even when throwing at slow to high speeds. It therefore has the perfect amount of stability with great consistency for all skill levels. For beginners, when thrown flat, the disc is going to fly straight for quite a ways, followed by a decent amount of fade. As for intermediate players, when thrown flat, they're going to actually get some turn out of the disc from the beginning of the flight, followed by a very subtle fade finish. And at these skill levels, players are going to enjoy flex shots with this disc, as well as some anti-hyzer releases, because the disc is going to want to hang in the air for quite some time. Professionals will love this disc for hyzer flips where you want the disc to fly straight, but it also has many other uses like rollers, turnover shots, and even flex shots at slower speeds are all possible. It just depends on the speed applied and the angle of release. Now, if you didn't check it out yet, be sure to watch our video called Are Lighter Discs Better? In it, we got a lot of practice testing this disc for this video, and one thing that stood out aside from its straight flight was the incredible glide this disc produces. Since this disc has a glide of 7, beginners or intermediate players could easily see this disc become their farthest flying and most controllable disc in their bag. Therefore, if you're looking for an excellent do-it-all type fairway driver, you really can't go wrong with the Latitude 64 River. It's popular for a reason, and it might just end up replacing our Innova Leopard 3. Now, when learning disc golf, moving up to those higher speeds can be a very confusing and difficult process. So many factors come into play that you don't want to end up wasting your time and money on a disc that's too hard to throw or one that you can't change and grow with over time. Thankfully, the Kastaplast FALK solves this issue. The FALK, or in English, Falcon, is a versatile fairway driver that fits the power and skill of a wide range of players. It has a speed of 9, a glide of 6, a turn of -2, and a fade of 1. Its flight is very similar to the Innova Sidewinder, which is a disc we recommended in our first 3-disc Every Disc Golfer Should Have video. However, unlike the Sidewinder, the FALK feels much more comfortable in your hand due to its 19mm rim width. And when you compare its flight, it actually has a little bit more turn than the Sidewinder, which is going to help those beginner to intermediate players. And just like the other discs, depending on the amount of power applied and the angle of release, this disc can actually do a lot of different things. Beginners with a decent amount of power will get great distance with this disc, while still maintaining good accuracy and a consistent fade back. Now, for intermediate players who typically have decent angle control as well as a decent amount of power, this disc has a good chance of becoming your straightest and farthest flying disc in your bag. And this is because it produces beautiful S-type shots if thrown flat with a moderate amount of speed. And if released hyzered with a decent amount of speed, in other words, a hyzer flip, this disc will flip up and even turn slightly to the right. This allows for a fairly straight flight with a good amount of distance. Now, for advanced to professional players, the use out of this disc definitely begins to change. And at this level, it can actually be a bit of a finicky disc, but it still has several uses. If a good amount of power is applied, this disc can be used for big hyzer flip bombs where the disc is released hyzered, flips up, turns, and slowly fades back, if at all. However, most professional players will find that this disc definitely shines for rollers since it can turn over with ease, but it's also great for big turnover shots that stay turned over the entire way. And we can't forget to mention that if you have a tailwind, you definitely need to use the FALK. With that -2 turn, it's going to glide and stay in the air forever, allowing for those big bomb shots. Therefore, if you're in the market for an understable fairway driver that feels incredible in your hand and that will grow with you over time, you can't go wrong with the Kastaplast FALK. So what do you think about the 3 discs we recommend to all skill levels? Aside from the 6 other discs we recommended in the previous videos, are there any that we missed? We all know that preferences will vary from person to person, but from our extensive experience with these discs, you can't go wrong. Now, if you're looking to pick up these discs and you'd like to support JustDisc, be sure to check out the links in the video description. And of course, if you like this video and you want more from us, you know exactly what to do. Thank you so much for watching JustDisc, for being a part of this community, and we'll see you in the next one. Merci beaucoup et à bientôt.